Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 301. I am Brendan. UFC 291, Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje, fighting for the BMF title. We are going to break that fight down. We're going to break down the rest of the main card here. Real quick, before we get started, if you like that kind of stuff, subscribe to the channel so you know the next videos are coming out. I put out 2 or 3 videos every single week breaking down fights round by round. I'm also covering The Ultimate Fighter if you're into that. All right, let's get right into it. I don't think there's going to be any controversy because Justin Gaethje ends up getting the win here, but something interesting to look at after we look at the breakdown. So they trade low kicks to start out the fight. Dustin presses Gaethje to the fence. Gaethje lands a beautiful 1-2 to exit. That was kind of a repeated thing here. So Poirier would be pressuring and pushing Gaethje to the fence, which is where Poirier likes to work, and then Gaethje would strike his way out of it and move himself off the fence. Gaethje was actually landing the longer combos, including going to the body in this fight, as opposed to their last one. Gaethje was dodging the right hand and coming back with one of his own. He just looked so smooth this round. Gaethje was blinking a lot on his lead eye. He got caught by a stiff jab. Gaethje with the patient and clinical, technical round there. I mean, easy 10-9 for Gaethje. Easy peasy. Second round starts here. Poirier is still the one moving forward and getting Gaethje to punch his way off the fence. And Gaethje with the head kick knockout. And then something I wrote down here. If you look at the reaction shot when they showed the announcers, you can see DC's face. Like, he's not excited at all. He's just like, oh. Or the other two, especially John Anik, is like super pumped. And that's because, DC's friends with Poirier. So I'm guessing if Poirier got the knockout here, he would have been talking about how he's the best fighter in the world and how he's come a long way for this and blah, 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 blah. When Justin Gaethje wins, it's, okay. So incredible performance. Justin Gaethje is still my favorite active fighter to watch by far. It's not even close. The guy is fantastic. He doesn't have a boring fight. Doesn't have a boring fight, and he still wins a majority of his fights. It's incredible to watch him go. So, interesting here. So if you look at the striking numbers here in this first round, 33-27 in favor of Gaethje. Gaethje actually threw more, even though he was on his back foot a little bit more. His leg kicks were landing very well early on. The differential in head strikes were only 3. This will play a role when we go over the next thing. So there was a little bit of controversy in the co-main event, and we'll go talk about that here in just a second. But let's look at the scoring here. Derrick Clearly and Ron McCarthy both gave Dustin Poirier that first round. Now, I would argue, I don't think it was that close. I thought it was a good round, a competitive round, but I gave Justin Gaethje this first round pretty clearly. Okay? These two are not above reproach, and we will get into that in a second. So what does this mean? What does this mean for Justin Gaethje? What does it mean for Dustin Poirier? So the lightweight division, it's pretty clear. Charles Oliveira's fighting Islam Makhachev, and Justin Gaethje should be fighting the winner of that fight. He should be fighting for a title. Now, some people aren't going to be a fan of that because they don't like Justin Gaethje for whatever reason. I don't get it. I think he's nothing but exciting to watch. I think he's done everything literally the right way. The way you're supposed to do it, right? He's not talking his way up the ladder. He's not skipping people. He's only fighting the best of the best in the division. And yes, he loses sometimes, and yeah, he wins sometimes, but he's on a win streak again after losing for the title. You know what I mean? Like, he lost the title fight to Charles Oliveira, then he beats Fiziev in a beautiful, beautiful performance, which I'm glad he didn't get robbed. And then in this one, which they might have been on their way to rob him in this one too. So that's fun. Anyway, I'm glad he got the win and it was definitive because now he's the clear title contender. So one more shot at the title for him would be great. And Dustin Poirier, I don't think he takes too big of a back step here. I think him versus Beneil Dariush makes sense, even though I know he said he didn't want to fight him, but him versus Beneil Dariush makes sense. Fiziev, I don't get. Gamrot's already fighting somebody. I think him and Fiziev going at it. I don't know if Dustin Poirier wants to fight Saryukin or Dos Anjos or anybody down here. I don't know if he wants to lend credence to any of those guys, given the fact that he's so highly ranked up here. Maybe he takes on the loser, right? So the winner of the title fight whether it be Islam or Charles, gets Justin Gaethje, and Justin Gaethje fights for the title, and then Dustin Poirier takes on the loser of the two to be next man up, something like that. I think that's the way to go. Great fight while it lasted, fun to watch, awesome sauce. Oh, if you're looking for a specific fight, the timestamps are down below. Jan Blachowicz versus Alex Pereira. Now, we'll go through the stats. We'll go through, and I will explain clearly why I scored it the way I did. And then we will talk about the little bit of controversy surrounding this one. Okay? Blachowicz was going for that single leg right away. Pereira tries the guillotine. Doesn't really get anything. Jan finally gets him down with 3 minutes and 15 seconds left on the clock. And right back to the body. He gets right to the body lock. And honestly, I could give this a 10-8 round. My argument for a 10-8 round here. Alex Pereira landed 2 shots, was dominated for 4 minutes and 50 seconds of that round. So 10 seconds of that round, you could argue, were competitive, okay? And that was walking across the cage. Right now, you could say he attempted the guillotine in that round, and yeah, I guess he kind of did, but it wasn't really that close, and it was a defensive move. Right, so let's give him credit for that. So he has one thing that he did in this round, essentially. Well, Blachowicz didn't. He landed plenty of good punches while on top. Yeah, it says only 6 here, but I think he landed more than that. That would be counted as significant, in my opinion. And he attempted 2 really hard face cranks. But the big story here is Pereira didn't do anything, and Blachowicz was in a dominant position the entire time. Okay, that's my argument for a 10-8 round. If you gave this a 10-9, that's fine. I just gave it a 10. I gave it a 10-8. Second round here, both guys trading low kicks. Actually, looks like Alex is a bigger guy, which looks strange to me. The low kick from Jan made Alex stand a little bit tender on that front leg. He just didn't go to it again enough. I thought he could have landed more of those leg kicks and really mess up Pereira, but he only threw 3 of them in this round. Jan landed a left hook to counter the low kick. Jan with the takedown. And he immediately gets into guard. Pereira looks really tired, just sitting on his back. Pereira gets up with 1 minute and 55 left. They clinch against the cage. Jan looks tired now. Alex able to land and bounce on his feet. It looks really good at the end of this round for Alex with that late push. So I had it 19-18 in favor of Blachowicz. Look at the striking numbers here, 33-20 in favor of Pereira. Absolutely his round. He landed some really good shots in there. Those leg kicks started to add up. A beautiful round for him. If he had spent the rest of the round on his back, I think this clearly would have been Blachowicz's round, but Pereira getting up really saved his ass in that one. Last round here, Pereira's landing the hard low kicks over and over. Jan with the counter combo, ending with a body kick. Jan's landing the left hook a lot. Alex is landing the low kick. Jan gets to take down with 42 seconds left in a close round with not too much damage, in my opinion. There was not a lot of damage back and forth here. So if you look at the scorecard, or if you look at the striking numbers here, 35-26 in favor of Pereira. So he did outland him, a lot of those being to the body and to the legs. As far as to the heads, Blachowicz clearly the better striker when it came to head strikes. Here's the thing. This round was close. And with that takedown, I could see someone giving it to Blachowicz. I didn't. I gave it to Pereira. Now, because it's a 10-8 round in that first round, I had a 20-28. That's a draw. I know that's boring and not great, but that's how I had it. I gave Blachowicz a 10-8 in that first round, and I'm not going to go back and take that away just because I think Pereira did a better job in the second round. That's not how that works. Now, looking at the scorecards, nobody gave him a 10-8. Okay? Derrick clearly and Ron McCarthy both gave the last 2 rounds Pereira. Now, I can't stand this. The commentary team clearly had not a bug up their ass, but they clearly had a subconscious objective, if not a conscious objective, to really push the narrative of Pereira going up and getting the win here and going and moving on. They're clearly bigger fans of him. It was a similar situation with Blachowicz's last fight. But anyway, the point is, at the end of the fight, they say, they got the decision right. Are you confident? How confident are you in that? Because you guys say all the time you shouldn't be scoring fights while you're commentating on them, but you guys you're so sure about this one. Well, Junichiro Kamijo wasn't so sure, and he gave the last round of Blachowicz. Again, I understand that. I don't agree with it. But for those of you guys out there saying, oh, Derrick Cleary and Ron McCarthy, they clearly got this one right. Well, those two dingalings both gave that first round in the last fight to Dustin Poirier. Yeah, so maybe before you jump on that bandwagon just to agree with those two because your guy or whoever won, maybe before you do that, you take a step back and realize, like, hey, the first round wasn't close. Last round was. And last round could have gone either way. So instead of saying, like, oh, for sure, the right guy won this fight, why don't you just take a step back and be like, hey, this was a close one. As far as what does it mean for Pereira, I don't know, man. What are you gonna do? You're gonna throw him a title shot immediately after beating Jan? So have him. That's funny because Ankalaev gets jumped for the title shot yet again. I mean, people like the short attention span that people have, and the recency bias is crazy. But everybody was complaining about Ankalaev not getting the title shot after Blachowicz, right? Okay, so anyway, I thought it was a close fight. I thought the fact that he had a close fight with Blachowicz being one of the top 5 guys means he does belong in here. I think he is a bigger guy, and he will do well in this division. Do I think he's going to dominate Ankalaev? Maybe, maybe not. Do I think he's going to go in there and he's in a pretty safe spot? I'm going to be honest, because the top 10 guys here. So let's see, Ryan Spann, not really going to be a lot of wrestling. Paul Craig, a little bit, but he's smaller and hittable. Volkan Ozdemir, not a wrestler. Anthony Smith, he can wrestle, but he gets bullied all the time. Johnny Walker, not a wrestler. Nikita Krylov, a little bit. Rocket striker. Blachowicz striker. And he wrestled a little bit. Ankalaev can wrestle, but he doesn't really. Yuri Prohaska, lots of striking. Jamal Hill, lots of striking. This is like a target-rich environment for him. It really is. He's gonna be able to go in there and slang and bang for a little bit against a lot of guys who aren't going to want to wrestle. I think I think one of the reasons why he doesn't want to be in 185, other than the fact that he has to cut weight to go down there, is the fact that he gets beat by a lot of those people. Let's be honest, by a lot of those bigger guys who aren't as small as Adesanya, who can also grapple. We all know he'd be in trouble. We've seen it. You can grind him out on the ground. All right, Derrick Lewis versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Lewis runs out and lands a flying knee real quick and then going ham early and gets the finish here. Fun fight, fun to watch. I love watching exciting fights where people just go for it. That's fantastic. I love that kind of stuff. De Lima survived for a second, but Lewis ends up getting the TKO. Lewis took his pants off and starts swinging them around, talking about how his balls are hot again. He didn't say those words, but it was hilarious. Dude, he's so freaking funny. He's like dancing and stuff in there. This is what happens when he still has energy, right? Because obviously Derrick Lewis, there's 2 ways a fight goes with him. He lands a big punch and he gets to do this and gets to clown around and have fun, or he quits because he gets tired and he doesn't want to be in there anymore. Those are the 2 things that we know about Derrick Lewis. He does one of the 2, right? This one happened to be the former. So, fun fight to watch. Tony Ferguson versus Bobby Green. Not a fun fight to watch. Oh, man. So no matter how much I know that Tony's not himself, I wrote this down as he's coming in, I still get so excited when I hear that walkout music, that wacky walkout music that he comes out to. Green landing a right hand early. Tony was exiting fast, looking like he was looking pretty quick. But Ferguson shoots for a double and transitions to the hip ride for a second on the fence. I thought that was his best chance, and he just didn't get that. Ferguson with that awkward style, nothing landing hard. Green not able to counter hard either, but he is landing. Tony landing a stiff jab, backing Green up at one point, hurting him a little. Green landing a nice 1-2. Ferguson dropped Green with a right hand at one point. Green with the eye poke. Bobby Green got an eye poke in here. So like I said last week, I'm starting to keep track of fouls and the beneficiaries of the fouls. Okay. So far, the most likely, if you commit a foul, your chances of winning go up. It's weird how that works. Let's see here. Ferguson was still staying in the pocket and swinging back as Green landed, but Tony had and here's the thing. Tony had a knockdown early in the round, which could make it close, but Green didn't look like he was finished or even close to it. So all that damage that came from Green the whole round, I gave that to him. So 40-14 for the striking numbers. That's why I gave it to Green. He just was outstruck like crazy. Second round here, Green started to pick him apart with the 1-2s. The first round, as it went on, that's what he started doing anyway, and it continues in this round. Green is now putting more out there when Ferguson doesn't exit right. Ferguson shoots for a takedown from way out there, ends up on bottom. Green landed some nasty ground and pound. Tony's busted up, and Green does have a cut on his eye from Tony elbowing him from his back. And then Green is moving a little slower, but he's landing a ton. 20-18, 49-16 for the striking numbers. Last round, more of the same with Tony. Tony was more aggressive in starting to throw more here. He attempted more strikes in the last round than he did at any. But Tony, and he landed like a hard low kick as Green countered with like 3 shots. So the story of the night, man, was Tony just doesn't look the same, right? He's walking him down, but he's getting picked apart. And then Bobby Green gets the submission finish with like less than 10 seconds left. How much time did it say? 6 seconds left on the clock. He gets an arm triangle finish and makes Tony tap to it. So fantastic win for Bobby Green. Looking at the scorecards here, figure we might as well look at them. Ron McCarthy gave that first round to Tony Ferguson. Derrick Clearly and Steve Farragher gave it to Bobby Green. You guys real confident in that Ron McCarthy scorecard for that last one, huh? This is funny. The way people just pile on when they agree with their guy. You can say it's a bad scorecard, or you can say that it's not. Michael Chiesa versus Kevin Holland. Now, I'm a huge Kevin Holland fan. I think I've loved him since he came into the UFC. Ever since he came in, he's been nothing but fun to watch. Holland took the center. Chiesa was circling the outside. Holland landed a couple uppercuts. Holland pushed Chiesa to the ground. They get back up, and then Holland defended a takedown, gets a Darce choke, locked up. What a great finish. And he went over to DC like, hey, we can wrestle in Texas, huh? It's incredible win for Kevin Holland because Chiesa's not ranked anymore. He's been out for 2 years, but Chiesa's a really good grappler, so it was a great win for him. After his last finish over Santiago Ponzinibbio, the guy has fought so much since 2018. Look how many fights he's had. Holy crap. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 fights in a matter of 5 years. That's a lot, guys. That's a lot. It's almost 5 fights a year so far. Man, and some of the wins that he has. We don't have to go over it every time, but holy moly. He's lost to some really good guys like Derek Brunson, Marvin Vettori, Hamzat Chimaev, and Stephen Thompson. Other than that, he's beaten he lost to Brendan Allen and Thiago Santos back in the day, but the thing is, he's beaten Jacare Souza, Joaquin Buckley, Anthony Hernandez, Tim Means, Alex Oliveira, Santiago Ponzinibbio. So he said he might stay at 170 or it might go back up to 185. He doesn't know. It depends if he's going to be challenging for a title. I think his better shot is at 170, but he just likes to fight. And he's fun to watch, man. So much fun. That's it for the main card. You let me know what you guys thought, right? Did you agree with the decision, the split decision in the co-main event? Do you think the commentary team is out of it? I mean, I think sometimes they get it right. Sometimes they're fine. Sometimes they get like this. They just get too they favor one side way too much. So if you guys like this kind of stuff, subscribe to the channel so you know when the next video is coming out. Like I said, I do 2 or 3 videos every single week, breaking down fights, putting these up, and then in the next video we do in the prelims, I'll probably do it in the boxing. I'm trying to find Bellator. I couldn't watch it last night because I was watching this, and now I'm trying to go back and watch Bellator, and I can't find it anywhere. So It's not on Paramount Plus, and I don't see it playing again. So if you guys know where I can watch Bellator, let me know. All right. I appreciate y'all. Have an amazing week. Love y'all.